food maker corporation Knorr has kowtowed to the mob and renames one of its sauces, a bell pepper sauce, from Zigeuner sauce which is Gypsy sauce, to bell pepper sauce of Hungarian style, paprika sauce, ungarische art. Now that's a clumsy new word and a clumsy new term, but of course the worry about this is more about the avalanche of protests and how all these companies are kowtowing. Knorr is not alone. There are a variety of competitors that have joined in. So, for example, there is the Dutch company Homann, who have not decided to change it right now, but have promised already that a new product relaunch, that means new bottles, some new labels, will see a different name on it as well. Likewise did Bautz'ner, another competitor, German one in this case, announced that they will follow their example. The retailer Edeka has said that they are contemplating a change, but they have not yet committed to any. I mean, for their house brand, they have a house brand. They have two main lines of retailers: a discounter, low price version, and then their main line of Edeka retail shops. Then there is a guild. I have explained in a couple of videos in the past that many Germans don't know that we have not overcome the medieval guild system. We have associations of professionals, associations like this were somewhat, your bottom-up approach, but of course it's not. It's the guilds of the medieval times, now called Verbände, and they are organized in pressure groups that usually tend more to lecture their own members than to achieve anything for their group. So a lot of professions have these Verbände or guilds, as in medieval times. And so the hotel and restaurant guild DeHoGa has let us know through their speaker Ingrid Hartges that you should watch your tongue if you serve clients with your racist food names. The Central Council of the Sinti and Roma have praised the decision of Knorr to change the name because the mob, right? They say apparently many people demanded that change, and therefore they are happy that Knorr followed through. Now, of course, this is the heart of the issue. We don't actually know how many people claim to be annoyed by this or that name. And the Central Council of the Sinti and Roma has already in the title the other side of the story, namely there is a secondary name to it. Obviously, you cannot call Gypsy Gypsies anymore. You are supposed to call them Sinti and Roma. Of course, Sinti and Roma are two separate cultures that just happened to emerge from one origin, from one common ancestry, but they have different habits and stuff, and it is impossible for your outsider to tell who is whom. I mean, if you have somebody in front of you, you cannot judge if somebody is a Sinti or Roma. And the easiest way to go about this would just be to call them Gypsy or Zigeuner. But this would be easy, and easy is not what the left likes. So, and as you already know from the gender bending nonsense, we are faced with increasingly cumbersome language, and so you are just asked to always say a man and a woman in a sentence. And also, if you talk about Gypsy, you have to kind of say it could be either a Roma or a Sinti, for whatever hell that is useful for. But this is not designed to be useful for you. This is designed to tell our overlords whether you are adherent to their ideology or if you are a dissident. Wikipedia, however, does claim, without any sources, that most Zigeuner or Gypsy don't like the word Zigeuner, and I think that's a discrimination. I've always wondered, if the word has any meaning anymore, because when I grew up, discrimination actually meant that you are stopped from doing something. A woman could not be a member of a group, or I don't know, anybody could not be a member of a different group because of a random criteria that is totally irrelevant. That used to be discrimination. Now it's something you don't want to hear also. Anyway, Wikipedia does of course not provide any poll to substantiate that a majority of Zigeuner don't want to be called Zigeuner. And when you look at the etymology of the word, you will find that this is not clear at all where it even comes from. So it's not like you associate it with something negative. It is totally unclear where the word comes from. In modern language, there's nothing that resembles it, so it's not that people have bad associations when they hear Zigeuner. These are the explanations Wikipedia comes up. So there is an old word, an old Greek word, atinganoi, which meant the untouchable, supposedly, but that's long ago and barely anybody speaks Greek, right? Another explanation is that the word derived from the Janga in Punjab province in India, where the Sinti and Roma are supposed to come from. A third explanation is that it may have derived from the Turkish or Old Turkish word Giani, which I think most Turkish would not recognize either, and of course a German would not. And the word simply means poor, so it isn't a terribly degrading word. As I said, the Sinti and Roma are actually two separate people, and I felt a bit reminded of the Eskimo-Inuit discussion that some of you may be familiar with, particularly if you're from Alaska or from Canada. People that were recognized as, living in the cold, mostly eating fish and so forth, they were usually described from outside as Eskimos, because that was, that's the an all-encompassing umbrella term for all of these peoples. Now, the Inuit, or some activists rather of the Inuit, have stepped forward and have, aligned with the left and said, white man bad, we don't want to be called by outsiders any name, we want to be called by our own tribe name, which would be fine if we were just talking about Inuit. However, there are other Eskimo tribes as well, and they don't want to be called Inuit. And now we have the situation that some activists of the Inuit lecture us that we have to get rid of this Eskimo word, which is so terribly offending, like this Zigeuner word. The origins are totally obscure. We have no idea where it actually came from, what it means. It does not have any negative associations and so forth. So, we have to get rid of this word Eskimos, but we don't know actually who we talk to. So if we just talk to somebody who looks like he comes from the cold, then we are supposed to guess the right thing, I suppose. And if we don't get it right, we are racist or something. So now we have the situation that some Inuit may be happy if we call just everybody an Inuit, but the other tribes, they openly rebel against this. They want to be called Eskimos or anything else, right? They don't want to be called Inuit. They want to be addressed either by their own proper name or by the umbrella term Eskimos. So this discussion is going on here as well with a Zigeuner, with a Gypsy. The Gypsy had been persecuted by the Nazis, so and eradicated to a large degree by the Nazis. So this is quite emotional here as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, share my content across multiple platforms because I can't be everywhere. And I'll see you soon. Bye.